right, guys, we're back. Puckett, Mr. X here in the building. Mr. X just said FaZe is going to be the top squad to challenge OpTic Gaming for the top spot.
They probably won't beat them.
You also showed some love to Envy, though, and you said this is a team with a lot of potential. Tonight, they're going to need every ounce of potential as they are going to be in our first matchup of the day. I can't wait for this one because OpTic Gaming coming back as returning champions, the X Games gold medalists. The winners of Season 2 are going to be taking on Aqua and Looney in the SMG game. Octane is going to take his shots at Formal. How is he going to be able to compete in that one-on-one?
He's going to have to win it. I mean, if they're going to have any chance of winning this series, Octane, a very talented player. I mean, we saw throughout Season 3 relegation, we saw UMG Cali just can really hold his own against the best. I think one of the more underrated ARs in the game. Didn't see a lot of them. I mean, we saw a lot of them with Justice because, casted a lot of the games, but a lot of the general public didn't get a really good look at Octane. They definitely are with this Envy line, and they're going to be impressed with what they see.
And what do you expect from JCap real quick before we get to the other teams?
I think JCap, you're really just going to see him being the leader for this squad. I don't think you're really going to see him put up major numbers. Really, it's going to be more in-game communication, making sure everybody's on the same page. I think you're going to see consistent play with AR and SMG at JCap.
OpTic Gaming versus Envy, our first match casted live here tonight. Our second match of the evening, Rise Nation versus Epsilon NA. Now, Epsilon showing what they were made of at the relegation tournament. When they were winning, they were crushing. When they were struggling, things did not go as planned. They kind of bombed out of the event. Rise Nation, though, still looking for 2 players. Then we look at our third matchup of the night, Orbit and Isolation, one of the most exciting matches that we saw throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah, those teams have some bad blood with each other, too. It's really good rivalry there between Dito and Vicenta. I'm excited for that one. Silly and ISO really came at Season 3 relegation, shocked a bunch of people. Going to see how they do in the Pro League. I mean, Orbit, another team, did really great at Season 3 relegation. You don't know if they have the firepower to really go at these top teams, so they're going to have to get pretty creative with the way they win.
And then, of course, Team Caliber with their new lineup taking on Denial eSports. We'll find out, can Denial figure out who is that SMG player to step up for the squad? What is the new dynamic of the team? Let's break it down match by match here. We look at OpTic Gaming. Who do you think is going to be their key player? Do they have a single key player when they match up against this Envy lineup?
No. OpTic Gaming, they're strong, all 4. I mean, anyone can go off at any moment in time for them. You're really going to be looking to see, how Scump plays. I haven't seen Scump play in a while. Over the weekend, took a little bit of time off. Going to see how he comes in and plays. I think he'll be fine, though. Scump always plays well.
All right, so we're going to see, of course, the SMG battles going down. And that one, Aqua probably trying to lead the charge with the SMG for this Envy lineup. Who do you think is the key player to watch, though, overall, if Envy is going to have success tonight?
If Envy's going to have success tonight, it's going to start with Octane. Octane going to have to win those engagements with Formal, and then you're just going to have to rely on the subs after that. I mean, see right there, Octane, top 5 KD in Season 3 relegation, Season 2, and UMG Cali. Very consistent Slayer. If he can put up those numbers against OG and Respawn, you're going to be relying on just the subs to win some one-on-one engagements, but it's really going to start with Octane if they're going to make the difference.
A lot of people don't realize just how consistent he has been. He doesn't have the biggest social media following, but recently the pros have been taking notice, and I think that top 5 KD, not only at the relegations, but throughout Season 2, really cemented him as one of the top players in the game right now. His performance on LAN at UMG Cali and Season 3 relegation, another true testament to his skill. When you look at all those numbers at the bottom, though, what's most impressive to you?
The S&D KD, the 1.27, though he's able to do it in Respawn, but a lot of players have a hard time adjusting to that slow playstyle in Search and Destroy after playing Respawns. Not an issue with Octane. He actually gets better in S&D. And I think, you look in Advanced Warfare, there haven't been too many players who've been consistent all throughout. I mean, since the beginning of Season 2, Octane, arguably, one of the most consistent players, if not the most consistent.
Okay, so Octane, our player to watch, coming into match number 1 against OpTic Gaming. Let's talk about the second match of the night. Rise Nation facing off against Epsilon. When you look at Epsilon, is there a key player to watch in your eyes here?
I mean, for Epsilon, Royalty, see how he plays, if he can pick up, where he left off at Season 3 relegation. Then Swanee, Swanee coming over to North America for the second time, trying to make something happen here. First time didn't work out with OpTic Nation. See if he can make this go permanent with Epsilon.
All right, and then when you look at Rise on the other side, we know what we're getting out of Epsilon. No idea what's going to happen here with Rise Nation. Out of Wheats and Sheen, who are you going for?
I think Wheats, Wheats has been playing pretty well lately. Since champs, had a good champs with AR. Going to be looking to see how Wheats kind of carries on. Chino's been really up and down for me. In AW at the beginning, everyone was kind of talking about Chino, hyping him up, and then we never really saw him kind of grow into that player everybody thought. Now, I think he's kind of turned into a pretty nice player, but Wheat's going to have to be the one who stands out tonight, especially, with we don't know what their roster's going to be.
Yeah, and when you looked at Rise, I remember them as being one of the top teams in CTF. Very few teams were incredibly solid throughout the Season 2 in CTF. It seemed to be a little bit fluky. If you're looking at Rise tonight, what game mode do they need to really step it up in?
Hardpoint, without a doubt. Hardpoint was Rise's struggle in Season 2. Going to need them to really step it up in Season 3. They don't. They're going to lose a bunch of games pretty quickly. Their Season 2 stats in Hardpoint were not pretty at all.
All right, so that's Rise. I think you just have to chalk it up as a possible loss. Your first match, probably playing as a team.
Probably.
Going to be in Season 3. They got screwed over by the roster changes, but these two teams we'll take a look at. Here's your hardpoint record from them. Just 41% throughout Season 2. Score difference, 14 points, a little bit more than that. Points per cap, not so long. Combined 0.94. Key player there, definitely going to be Chino for you. But let's take a look now at our 8 o'clock matchup. This is Team Orbit versus Isolation. The match happened twice at Relegation. We had 2 different results. Matt, let me ask you, what is the key for both teams starting here with Isolation?
I think for Isolation, you're going to be looking at hard points. How they're going to be playing in those. Obviously they had a pretty good run at Season 3 Relegation in hardpoint. Going to be looking to see if they can continue that here in Season 3, actually. And then I think for Orbit, you're going to be looking at Search and Destroy. They're going to be up and down on respawn just because they don't really have that consistent top slayer all the time. They're going to have to look at different places to find those kills. I think S&D is a game though that they can win pretty consistent.
Here's a look at those S&D stats from Season 2. 6-1 at the Season 3 Relegation, rather. They had a 2-round difference. Pretty big deal there. Very rarely are they going to let a team get close and force that round 11 rather. Average round time, minute 34. Combined KD, a 1.07. Now, the key player surprised me here. It was Burns, a 1.3 from Burns throughout. See, his points per games, his deaths per games, not super high there, man.
Yeah, no, not a lot of OBJ work out of Burns there. 1.30 KD, though, very good in S&D. Really, that's going to be the strong suit for Orbit. And then ISO, as I was saying, going to be looking for them in hardpoint. Had a great Season 3 Relegation in hardpoint. Now you see 10-1. Silly with a fantastic weekend. Just really going to be looking for them to come out strong in this game mode in Season 3.
And you can see the captures there, as well as the defense per game coming from Silly. His hardpoint is on point. I love how active he is, and this was probably their most versatile player when I watched them live. AR, SMG, it didn't matter, so he got the job done. Also some clutch 1v3s. Speaking of Isolation and Orbit, these are 2 of our newest squads joining Season 3, making some names for themselves at that Relegation tournament. I sat down and I put together a little top 5 for us. This is a look at some of the top 5 moments from the Season 3 Relegation tournament from Orbit and Isolation. Let's take a look at the action. Now, it's really Isolation that I think you're going to see with some of the best plays throughout this. And I think Epsilon also with a few plays here in the top 5. Ron, when you have that loaded up, let's send it our way. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, our top 5. This is the new blood from the Relegation tournament coming now into Season 3. And we're kicking things off at number 5. It was Epsilon coming back from a 5-point deficit, 14-9 with just a minute 30. Absolute domination in the last parts of this game and comeback. As casters, we thought this was all over against DT Purple, and then you just see the points railing in. You see the slaying. It was done by Royalty, clearing the way. Remy and Nagafen, though, so good with the uplinks. They controlled the drone throughout. Nagafen with the bow, totally locking down top blue, and they were able to just crush their way to the victory in the final 23 seconds. You see it's all tied up here, 40 seconds to go. They're able to tack one more on. And I was just so amazed that there was no give up in this team. They never thought they weren't going to be able to close it out. They end up finishing DT Purple with the powerful 3-0, finishing that one 16-14 as you see Royalty throwing it out.
Yeah, just a dominant comeback right there from Epsilon. Play number 4, though, it's going to be Royalty's Detroit Hardpoint start in the Grand Finals versus Isolation. This was just silly. I mean, these early 4 kills, Puck. I mean, the guy was a freak all weekend long. You see right there, playing on 12 sensitivity, just kills the entire team right off the bat.
Really love watching Royalty, and as you mentioned, this guy, 12 sensitivity. He doesn't use a scuff. This is all natural. Royalty from Canada, making a name for himself. Look for him throughout tonight's matchup. On the other side, you're going to see Nagafen. Nagafen, you see a little bit of uplink action, known for his play. At number 3, though, it's Silly's interception from Isolation. I love the uplink play from Epsilon. Isolation, out of all the teams that were there, may be the only squad with a better game.
Yeah, and Silly, again, a 1v3 on Detroit S&D versus Prop C. This really sparked ISO's run throughout the tournament. I mean, once they win this game, with this play being a huge catalyst, I think this is the play everyone remembers from the entire weekend, able to kill Aches and Apathy. Octane has to get off bomb. Silly challenges him. You see Dito, he's shocked that that even happened. Just Silly really willing his team to victory.
And of course, from there, you saw ISO go up 5-4. But just moments later, Silly and the boys were all tied up 5-5. It came down to a 1v1. Here it is, your number 1 play.
Trying to bait him out. This is such a difficult spot to work from. Llama God playing this absolutely perfect. Oh God, I'm stressed. He's got all the time in the world. There he takes it. They're on their feet. And Isolation is going to take it. Round 11, Llama God.
The best part there, the Havoc 360 in my opinion, guys. That was some clips from the boys coming into Season 3 from Epsilon and Isolation. You can check out Isolation and their matchup. They're going up against Orbit a little bit later on. We have one final match to talk about before the commercial break. This is going to be Team Caliber and Denial.
Yep.
TK making a huge change the day of the tournament. The Season 3 kicks off now, and they're adding in Neslo, and they're bringing back Theory. Talk to me a little bit about this matchup, Matt. Let's get right into it here.
I think Neslo and Theory are going to be nice additions to TK, but still, you're going to be looking at Sharp. He's going to have to be the one who makes the difference maker for me. I mean,
right.
We see a lot of moves go on with TK. Sharp, he's the original member of TK. So when you look at all these new rosters that they put together, he's the only constant factor in all those. Going to be looking for him to step it up. 0.97 overall KD in Season 2, a 0.87 S&D. Really going to need him to step it up in that game mode.
You know, he's been the captain of TK basically since inception. He's been around the block. He's won a silver medal with this squad. Is Sharp going to be able to get it done? Once again, making some power moves, departing with Goonjar to bring back Theory and Neslo here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, it all sounds good until they actually start playing. I mean, grass always looks greener. I thought they had a pretty good thing going on with TJ. Thought he's going to be a nice fit for them. They didn't go with TJ and Goon. Maybe try something different with Aches and Teep. I mean, clearly they were looking for teams pretty hard. I think this just feels really comfortable with TK. They kind of always go back to this comfort zone. It's going to be interesting to see how this one works out.
And then, of course, on the Denial end, if things are going to go right for them tonight, obviously, question is about roles. Who's going to be their key player?
Yeah, I mean, who's going to be really the main AR for Denial? I think I'd probably look at like Temp and Slasher, see how those guys play. Hook, obviously another big factor in Denial as well. I think you're really going to see how the dynamic between Temp and Slasher works.
Are you comfortable with putting an SMG in Hook's hands at all times?
Yes, but I don't think he's comfortable with it. Like, I think I mean, Hook's a fantastic player with the sub, but that's really not what he wants to do. He wants to be an AR and kind of sit a little bit further back, kind of float around the map, just pick up kills. It's not the role he's going to have to play on this team. He's going to throw everything at his sink.
And I remember Clay tweeting a little bit ago, you know, before all of the roster mania, right after X Games, he asked to change the team or change the meta of the game. That's kind of the question. I'm wondering, can you change the meta with this new lineup? Can you show that ARs can dominate every form of the game modes, not only in hardpoint, also in uplink? We know you can get it done in search. We know that the BAL, like I watched it all of the Season 3 relegation tournament. You can win games almost purely with BALs in search and destroy. Will this team be able to change the way everyone else starts playing?
You know, I think you could play a little bit more AR heavy in hardpoint, but you're going to need that SMG to pick up kills consistently. Is replays that SMG who's going to win 1v2 gunfights in the hill or really be the one who takes on 2 to 3 SMGs at a time? I don't know.
All right, well, We all have to find out. It's going down a little bit later, guys. If you're just joining us, all of the matches throughout the season will be cast, especially this week. You can watch it right here on MLG.TV/ESR. We've also opened up a new channel, MLG.TV/Pro League. You can watch the ESR with live commentary there. Also, all of the player viewpoints. Here's a look at tonight's matches. OpTic Gaming going toe-to-toe with Envy to open things up as Envy showcases their new lineup. Then we got Rise Nation going up against Epsilon North America. Team Orbit has a chance for revenge against Isolation, and Team Caliber will be facing off against Denial. All of that still to come. When we return, though, we got our caster predictions. Let us know. You just saw the schedule. Who do you think is going to win? We'll tell you our predictions after this.
Live every day as if it's your life.